I'd like to introduce you to a simple model called DiSC. Let's discover how DiSC can improve your effectiveness as a leader. DiSC describes 4 basic styles: D, I, S, and C, that can help you understand how you and others approach the work of leaders. For instance, leaders with a D or dominant style tend to be commanding, pioneering, and resolute. They're direct and not afraid to be forceful. Leaders with this style push to keep things moving, and they often create an environment with a strong focus on speed and results. On the other hand, leaders with the I or influence style tend to be energizing, pioneering, and affirming. You can recognize these leaders by their outgoing nature and optimistic attitude. They enjoy the spotlight, and they like to create a fun, colorful environment with a lively sense of team spirit. Or consider people with the S or steadiness leadership style, who tend to be inclusive, humble, and affirming. These leaders have a gentle and sincere manner, and they're often seen as good listeners. They help create a warm environment where harmony and collaboration are valued. And finally, leaders with a C or conscientiousness style are often deliberate, humble, and resolute. They are strongly analytical and place a high value on quality and accuracy. These leaders focus on creating an orderly, business-like environment where people make decisions based on logic rather than emotions. These 4 basic DiSC styles use different combinations of the 8 leadership priorities around the Everything DiSC leadership map. These priorities describe the primary areas where leaders focus their energy. Let's take a look at some leaders who can show us these priorities in action. First, let's watch Joel, a leader with the I style, who puts a high priority on energizing others.
The leader creates a positive vibe where people are open. They're constantly communicating, collaborating, and sharing.
Next, let's take a look at Kathleen, a humble leader who falls between the S and C styles.
I tend to be much more low-key than most leaders I know. I realize that if I have my ego in check, it's easier to maintain perspective and be fair.
And here's Jen, a leader who likes being pioneering. She combines the D and I styles.
I'm really an entrepreneur at heart. What gets me excited is when you can take people and ideas and resources and bring them together and make something extraordinary happen.
The next leader, Peter, is quite deliberate, which is typical of his C style.
As a leader, I like to approach problems systematically. Obviously, this ensures that issues get dealt with logically, but it also creates a framework that everyone can follow.
Now, let's watch Christiana, a leader who puts a high value on affirming others.
I find reasons to tell people what a good job they've done. It's actually one of my favorite parts of being a leader. If people know that they're appreciated, they're going to identify with the team and the work we're doing that much more.
Across the circle from Christiana is Anne, a resolute leader who balances the D and C styles.
I've been told that I'm strong-willed. If we set a goal, my job as the leader is to make sure that it happens. Yeah, I expect obstacles. That's just a part of life if you want to achieve anything meaningful.
Eric, our next leader, puts a high priority on being inclusive.
Really, if I succeed as a leader, it's only because of the people I have on my team. I absolutely rely on their input every day.
Finally, let's take a look at Gabe, a commanding leader with a D style.
If I tell the team we're going to make something happen, we're going to make it happen. And if I think things aren't going in the right direction or they aren't going quickly enough, we're going to have a conversation about that.
So, as you can see, there are many different types of leaders. Because they all have different strengths based on their priorities, all of the styles are valuable. And by learning about your own DiSC style, you can start to understand how your natural tendencies and priorities affect the way you lead.